So I know what I'm supposed to think about Kanye West's run for president. This is an off-his-meds lunatic.
Kanye West doesn't seem well. A series of bizarre outbursts.
I saw a man clearly in trouble.
His campaign is yet another narcissistic outburst, some silly celebrity sideshow that's maybe a dark arts tool of the Trump administration. But what if we peered past the social media shards and hyperventilating headlines? What will we find? A lunatic or something else? Something we're not supposed to see. Let's start at ground zero.
I would have voted on Trump.
I'm hoping that you knock that out of touch.
He seems to crave attention and has for a very long time.
Whatever's in his mind, I disagree with him.
People misunderstand Kanye's admiration for Trump. Here's what Kanye relates to about Trump. Look back at the video of Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, getting humiliated by Obama.
Mr. Trump, he certainly would bring some change to the White House.
Everyone in the room laughing at him. At that moment, who in the world would think that Obama's going to be handing the keys to the White House to Trump? It's the revenge of the humiliated. That energy is what Kanye relates to. Trump's fuck you attitude towards orthodoxy.
Of course that's it. Kanye's been waging war on orthodoxy his whole life.
Yeah.
This is an English professor's son who took Tai Chi lessons in China, whose mom wouldn't let him ride the L train through the dangerous parts of Chicago. He's got as much street cred as I do. This proves problematic when attempting to do this for a living.
Last year shopping my demo, I was trying to shine. Every motherfucker told me that I couldn't rhyme. Now I can let these
Man, everybody look and say, yo, man, he crazy, man, he trying to rap. People just told me I was stupid for trying to rap.
Kanye goes from Jay-Z literally laughing in his face the first time he raps for him to co-headlining arena tours with him.
Kanye, so you did it again, you a genius, nigga.
Who's the stupid one now?
Right.
Or how about when Kanye makes the insane decision to abandon his sneaker deal with Nike because they won't give him royalties and won't let him expand into other products?
I'm trying to express that I can create outside of this, just the music box, and I'm just getting completely just shut down.
Kanye signs with Adidas to start Yeezy, a full-fledged fashion line. Wait, a rapper making women's athleisure?
You gonna see, I'ma be bigger than H&M, bigger than Louis Vuitton.
That's called calling your shot. The Yeezy line blows up into a fashion juggernaut, offering $400 hoodies that sell out in 6 minutes.
You gotta watch who you calling crazy. Yeezy, the newest $1 billion baby. It won't feel right till I feel like Phil Knight.
Kanye has repeatedly exposed conventional wisdom to be conventional lies. He calls these conventional lies simulations. This is the suffocating orthodoxy, right? The invisible man-made codes that artificially restrict our behavior, that artificially restrict our minds, setting the boundaries for what we think is possible and what we think is impossible. And he's the rare breed of being that can crash those codes.
You telling me people don't look at Kanye West like the glitch?
Like the glitch.
So that night in November, what's he see in the president-elect? What's he staring at? He's staring at a fellow glitch.
Half the shit Trump does, I don't agree with.
What half do you agree with? Let's get that out.
Just the ability to do what no one said you could do, to do the impossible.
Kanye's attraction to Trump pushes him into a new simulation. The simulation that's supposed to control his politics.
Everyone around me tried to pick my candidate for me, and then told me every time I said I like Trump that I couldn't say it out loud or I get kicked out the black community because we're supposed to have a monolithic thought. We can only be Democrats.
What do glitches do to simulations?
And sometimes you just have to be fearless enough to break the simulation.
There was a glitch in the Matrix. I seem to have some crossover appeal as sort of a cultural attaché to people who are politically curious.
What he means is that he spent several weeks with Kanye at his California compound.
I want blacks to be equal. I want blacks to be equal. All of the methods of the left and the media telling us that we need to do to reach equality have not worked, will not work. He's done with that. And I think that he wants the rest of us to be done with that. I know he wants the rest of us to be done with that.
Kanye's liberation from the simulation progresses in phases. First, he attacks the source code, the foundational conventional lie that props up the whole programming.
I have turned my back on the idea of victimization mentality. Come on, man, this is a free man talking.
This is a subversive brother. This guy is a threat to the order of the day, man. There is a certain narrative about the black experience. We have to understand ourselves primarily through the lens of our victimization and the victimization of our ancestors.
Post-traumatic slave syndrome.
The boot upon your neck.
To make your being a victim a deep part of your identity that you carry around with you all the time, such that if you didn't have that trauma, you wouldn't even know who you were.
And I had metastatic cancer, and I would argue we have metastatic racism.
Diversity, inclusion, systemic racism, mass incarceration.
We still in chains. We still in chains.
It's absurd. They're playing you. That's what I would say to black voters. That's what I hope Kanye West says to them. They're playing you.
But we always pointing at the white people, but yet we want to spend all our money on luxury and rapping about things that could get you locked up and then saying you about prison reform. Like, it's, bro, we brainwashed out here, bro.
All right, next question.
And this is gonna get a little emotional, but my question is, I'm from the west side of Chicago. I've lost two of my friends to light violence. They got shot and killed. And I'm scared. I'm scared I'm next, you know. We need something to keep going in this city because I don't know how to get out.
Bodies are littered in St. Louis and Baltimore and Detroit and Chicago. Littered, children. How much violence are we going to tolerate without even bothering to take note of it?
Black people have a tendency to focus and march when a white person kills a black person. But when it's 700 kids being killed in Chicago, it's okay. It's okay for blacks to kill blacks.
He is not wrong. He is not wrong. In America today, that if a white person kills a black person, I will see it amplified on my Instagram, on my Facebook. But if a black person kills another black person, they are nameless victims.
Carried her small white casket into the community of faith.
The most galling example of this to me was Jasmine Barnes, 7-year-old girl that was killed in Houston. Initially, they thought she was killed by a white person because they saw a white guy fleeing the scene in a truck.
A white man with a beard in his 40s and wearing a...
Immediately went national.
This could be a hate crime.
She was targeted because she's an African American.
Information leading to the arrest of Jasmine Barnes' killer is now up to $100,000. That money has
country
been
outraged over the death of an innocent little girl.
A week later, the awkward conclusion. It was just another drive-by by two black men that thought they were killing someone from a rival gang.
These two suspects do not look like this picture that was circulated.
Again, officials are saying today that the race of the suspect is now irrelevant.
All the other kids that this happens to, nameless. Unless the person who pulled the trigger has the right skin color. That is insane.
Next, Kanye voices his vision of the good, of what ought to take the place of the simulation.
Let me ask you this question. You're in the Oval Office. Okay. How does it feel to be in the Oval Office?
Oh, it is good energy in this.
Isn't it good energy?
This is what you were told to think about that meeting.
What I saw was a minstrel show.
Looks like he's having some mental health problems, which is really tragic.
Clearly someone who is off his meds.
This is the simulation's self-defense mechanism. Kanye is a virus wreaking havoc in its codes.
Kanye West is what happens when Negroes don't read.
And I'm a prisoner in a different dimension. Have I lost anyone so far?
But Kanye is uncancelable, and he's voicing his vision of the good to the most powerful person on the planet.
And I was programmed to think from a victimized mentality. Blacks and African Americans, we really get caught up in the idea of racism over the idea of industry.
Victimization, how does it manifest how you spend money and your time? And that's through protesting and complaining. It's not through what I call toiling the soil. You know, it's not through brick and mortar building.
Brick and mortar building in the face of racism is in Kanye's blood. His grandfather went from shining the shoes of white businessmen in Jim Crow, Oklahoma City, to running his own furniture manufacturing company. Rap itself is a grand act of economic self-empowerment. Black America births a globally dominant art form, fueling an explosion in Black-owned businesses. Perhaps the product of this history might reject a political programming that casts him as nothing but a helpless victim. Perhaps a chubby white nerd who spent his youth worshiping the icons of this industry might also. Kanye's short-circuiting this looping obsession with victimization because it blinds people to the opportunities of right now.
You've seen 100 slave movies and taught that history about yourself, but there's no class telling us exactly how Magic Johnson became a billionaire.
There is an alternative vision of economic advancement, a different strategy that's been offered up.
I can hold my liquor. This man can't.
This summer, the pandemic, plus the protests, opened up a security vacuum in Kanye's hometown, leading to the ransacking of the Magnificent Mile, the city's upscale shopping district.
This was the African Americans from the poor districts come downtown to party, knowing that they could smash a window and walk through and carry out an armful of stuff, and nobody was going to say anything.
Chicago's mayor had to resort to the medieval move of literally pulling up the drawbridges to keep thieves out.
People are worried about looting. Gucci, Apple Store, whatever it is, that stuff will be replaced. Y'all are mad about people looting Mag Mile? Get over it!
I don't care if somebody decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike. That is reparations. Anything they want to take it.
She's playing with our civilization. You take it for granted. You think our own security of person and property is a given? It is not. It's an achievement. Things fall apart.
Next, Kanye touches the transcendent, an otherworldly source of courage that can keep him steady in the face of the simulation's relentless assault. Kanye's conversion to evangelical Christianity has been a bit abrupt.
Sometimes I wish that my dick had go pro. Every knee shall bow. Jesus is Lord.
But infusing his faith to his political project, he is, in his own way, channeling a lost majesty.
And the civil rights movement was deeply rooted in Christianity. That's coming up out of the slave quarters. That's the howling of the spirituals. That's the thumping of the podium by the Baptist preacher. That's the word of God, okay? They took it seriously.
God is not interested merely in the freedom of black men and brown men and yellow men, but God is interested in the freedom of the whole human race.
Color blindness and nonviolence were fundamental ethical principles.
And this is what Jesus means, I think, in this very passage when he says, love your enemy. You see God's image there.
They got the club in the fire hose. You actually get beaten. And in that small act of martyrdom, you adhere to a certain discipline. It's not countercultural. It's not postmodern. It's bedrock black Christianity.
That is all control, media control, propaganda. I might legally change my name to Christian genius billionaire Kanye West for a year until y'all understand exactly what it is.
Some few souls see the truth, but what's more important than seeing the truth, it's expressing the truth against the omnipresent, totally consuming propagandistic narrative, which is a lie. Who's going to do that?